Welcome everyone to deck request number 8. I was asked by mfthemattdetonados to make a deck profile for my level 2 vanilla deck, which I've used in Duel 69. I quite like this deck as a really interesting concept. I did once make like a Rescue Rabbit deck with monsters of all levels, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I never was able to do much with the 1s and 2s, so I cut those out. It's not really a good deck, that one anyway. But shut up. But I was just trying to get a fun deck with level 2s, and with level 2s I could also throw in Junk Synchron. And to get some synchros out, with the Rescue Rabbit, some good Xyzs, because Gotchi is really good. Dark Mist can be very useful, getting a really high attack, and Augusta Phoenix can attack twice if you use its effect. So, I do like the deck, and if you want to try it out, feel free to build this deck yourself and see how it works. Alright, starting us off, we just have the two level 2 normal monsters with the highest attack, those being Atlantean Pikeman and Clown Zombie with 1400 and 1350 attack respectively. And after that, the highest attack is at 900, and I went with Dharma Cannon at 900 and 500, and Souls of the Forgotten 900 and 200. Now there's quite a few other level 2 normal monsters, some with a little higher defense, but you don't play these cards for defense, and even if you would have a card with like 900 defense, it barely ever will make any difference compared to, let's say, the 200 defense for Souls of the Forgotten. Barely ever. The reason I went with these two was because of their dark attributes, so I can use them for Allure of Darkness. Now, Junk Synchron is obviously there to normal summon itself, and then special summon any of these guys from the graveyard to be able to synchro for level 5, and Rescue Rabbit obviously to just summon 2 copies of one of these normal monsters, get it out, and go into an Xyz with Gotchi, Phoenix, and, on the rare occasion, Shining Elf. Or if you have another one already, Dark Mist. Allure of Darkness to just get 2 more draws in, and Clown Zombie, Dharma Cannon, and Souls of the Forgotten are all dark monsters, so I usually banish one of those, but if necessary, Junk Synchron is also a dark, which I can banish. I have 2 copies of Amulet of Ambition. I quite like this one. You can only equip it to a normal monster. I have 12 of those, so that works pretty well. And then, when it battles a monster of a higher level, and the card states level, and not rank, so if it battles these monster, it doesn't work. If it battles a monster of a higher level than this normal monster, Dharma Cannon in the case of Duel 69, where Dharma Cannon was equipped with a spell, Dharma Cannon gains 500 attack times the difference in levels. In that duel, Dharma Cannon faced a level 4 monster with 1900 defense, or 1800? 1800, I believe. Yeah, 1800. So the difference in levels between 4 and 2 is 2. So 2 times 500 is 1000 power boost. Amulet of Ambition gave Dharma Cannon 1000 power boost for that battle, 1900, and it was able to beat that monster. And when this card is sent to the graveyard, if you would wish, you can return it to the top of your deck. I personally don't do this often because if it's destroyed, then usually there's some other plays that I'd like to make, like with Junk Synchron, but sometimes you would want it back in the top of your deck. I have Dark Hole, just destroy all monsters and then come out with my own. I have Enchanting Fitting Room, with which you pay 800 life points, but then you pick up the top 4 cards of your deck, and any level 3 or lower normal monsters among them are special summoned to the field. So with a little luck, you can get like 3 or 4 of them out. But if you're unlucky, and I have had this before, you get only 1 monster, or, well, none. And that's not really good because you do pay 800 life points. You don't have to like destroy them or banish them or something during the end phase, so if you like get only 1 Souls of the Forgotten and you can't Xyz or Synchro with it, it's not that bad, but you really want multiple to be able to Xyz. Really, or if you have a Junk Synchron to be able to Synchro. That's up to you. And all other monsters are returned to the deck and then shuffled. Now I also have Faustian Bargain, which is a card I've noticed not many people know about. But if you have a level 4 or lower normal monster in your hand, and your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned to the field, and with Xyzes and Synchros and the current meta, a lot of monsters are special summoned to the field, you send that monster to the graveyard, that special summoned monster the opponent controls, and then special summon your own level 2. Well, level 4 or lower normal monster, but in my case that'll be a level 2. And it's not destroy, so Stardust Dragon cannot stop it. A lot of cards that negate destructions cannot stop Faustian Bargain because it sends to the graveyard. It doesn't actually destroy, which is very good. Now, Heavy Storm to just destroy all spells and traps as a staple. Monster Reborn to get stuff back. Mystical Space Typhoon to stop spells and traps. Pot of Avarice, when I have my monsters in my grave, I like my draws, and I can just get them back in my deck and draw. Usually, I'll go with Rescue Rabbit and Junk Synchron on this, and then fill that up to 5 for Pot of Avarice with any of the normal monsters. Usually, I'll try to keep one in the grave for Junk Synchron. I have one copy of the Law of the Normal, which you can only activate if you have 5 face-up level 2 or lower normal monsters on your side of the field. This doesn't happen too often, that's why I only have one copy of this card. But it does happen sometimes that you get 5 level 2 normal monsters on the field. And in that case, both players discard their entire hand and destroy all cards on the field. Except for the level 2 or lower normal monsters. And pretty much always, I'll be the only one with level 2 or below normal monsters. And the opponent then won't have any cards in their hand. Me neither, but that doesn't really matter. But the opponent doesn't have a field and doesn't have a hand. And then I have 5 level 2s. So then I'll likely go double Daigusto Phoenix and with their effects 2 times 3,000 damage, that's 6,000 damage, and then 1,400 plus, 1,350 plus, or 900 plus to get some more damage in, which is really awesome. I also have 2 copies of the spell Try White, with which you target 2 level 2 or lower normal monsters in your graveyard, which is then a special summon, which you can then use for Xyzes. 2 copies of White Elephant's Gift, with which you send 1 face-up non-effect monster you control to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. And the only non-effect monsters I have in this deck are these. Non-effect monsters doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a normal monster, because there are some synchros that are non-effect, like Xyz, Gemini Pearl. You also have for Scrap, let's say, where is it? Scrap Archfiend is also not an effect monster. It's not a normal monster, but it's not an effect monster. Now I have the Solemn Brigade. Then I have 2 copies of the League of Uniform Nomenclature, with which you select 1 face-up level 2 or lower normal monster on your side of the field. So any of these 12, once again. And then you special summon from your deck as many cards with the same name. So if you have 1 Dharma Cannon on the field and you play Nomenclature, then you get 2 more of them, with which you can then Xyz into Gachi, into Dark Mist, into Daigusto Phoenix, whatever you wish. And then finally I have 1 copy of Tyrant's Throws. With this you tribute 2 normal monsters. Tokens do not count, but this deck doesn't summon tokens, so that doesn't really matter. And then this is a continuous trap. To activate it, you tribute 2 normal monsters, which isn't too difficult. As long as this card stays up on the field, neither player can normal or special summon effect monsters. And almost all monsters in the current metagame are effect monsters. Only like in Dino Rabbit do you see Sabersaurs and Cabazols as normal monsters. There's barely ever any normal monsters in any meta deck these days. So this is really, really awesome. Like, they may have MST or Heavy Storm to take them out, take Titan Throws out, in which case it's too bad that I attributed the 2 monsters, but I've had quite a few rage quits when using this. I only run 1 because it is helpful, but once again, MST and Heavy Storm are very common, and will often destroy it like 1 or 2 turns later. So that's why I only run 1, but it is a very useful card. If you want rage quits with this deck, this is probably the card that'll cause those rage quits. Or this one. This one is also really good. Now, in my extra deck, I have what is very likely to be the overall best level 5 synchro, Catastor, just because whenever it battles a monster that is not the dark attribute, it destroys that monster with its effect at the start of the damage. Step. Yeah. After that is probably Hyper Librarian that is counted as the best level 5 synchro because it's very helpful to just continue drawing. But this one, like Hyper Librarian, is also only really that useful if you have a deck which has a lot of synchros, like Lavals, Synchrons. Those continuously synchro all over during your entire turn, and sometimes even the opponent's turn if you have Formula Synchron. So that's how you can get a lot of draws off a Hyper Librarian. Then I have one copy of Magical Android because it's just the highest attack level 5 synchro that I wanted to use. Like Hyper Librarian also has that. I have him for the draw effect, and then Magical Android for the extra life points that I can give. And then 2 copies of Junk Warrior. I have Junk Synchron to bring it out, so why not? And when Junk Warrior is synchro summoned, and this effect is barely ever used with Junk Warrior, but when it's summoned, its effect automatically triggers whether you have level 2 or below monster or not. But it's triggered, and then Junk Warrior permanently gains attack equal to the total attack of all level 2 or lower monster control. So let's say I would have Pikeman, Clown Zombie, and Dharma Cannon, 1 copy of each on my field, and then also Junk Synchron. Then I tune Junk Synchron with Dharma Cannon, bring out Junk Warrior, and then because of its effect, it gains attack power equal to Clown Zombie and Pikeman, which is 2750, which would then get Junk Warrior to 5050 attack. And that is quite devastating. And then Gotchi, Daigusto Phoenix, and Dark Mist. I assume you all know these effects. Shining Elf, you don't really see it that often. It's 2 level 2 monsters, 1600 attack, 1000 defense, spellcaster, wind attribute. When your opponent normal summons or special summons a monster or monsters, except during the damage step, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, and that monster loses 500 attack. It's kind of situational. That's why I don't use it very often, but it's a good card, and it's a rank 2 Xyz, and I didn't really see myself using 3 Phoenixes or 3 Dark Mists, so I just added them in. But likely, if another useful rank 2 Xyz comes that will be released, then I will very likely replace 1 Shining Elf for that. And I'm looking at Armor Kappa, which I totally forgot about. Let's see, once per turn you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, gains 1000 attack and defense. During either player's battle step, when a monster you control battles, you can discard 1 card monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage. Battle damage involving them. That is a good effect, so I am definitely doing that. Throwing in an Armor Kappa. And since I don't really see myself using another Dark Mist, I'm gonna, because of the 3 materials, it has a good effect, but with the 3 materials I don't use it, I'm gonna throw in a second Armor Kappa. For now, and I haven't tested it yet. I forgot that Armor Kappa was even out. I didn't really think of the deck when it came out, but now I did. And for my side deck, it's not a full side deck because I don't use this deck that often, and I don't use it in matches anyway. But you could go with Soul Drain to stop certain effects. 2 more Tyrant's Throws because it does help, but yeah, with a common Heavy Storm and MSD, I wouldn't really use these. I have 2 copies of Light Imprisoning Mirror, stopping light monsters' effects. Not Shadow because, you know, Junk Synchron being dark, Junk Warrior being dark, Catastrophe being dark, I don't really want to stop my own effects. And then, when I think Junk Synchron and a level 2 monster, one of the Synchro monsters that comes to mind that is level 5 is Frozen Fitzgerald, which was originally a Dark Synchro in the anime. It requires a Dark Tuner, which Junk Synchron is, and then a non-tuner Beast type. But for the 900 attackers, and Clown Zombie and Pikeman aren't it either, none of them are of the Beast type. So I decided not to throw Frozen Fitzgerald in. But would you want to play Frozen Fitzgerald, then Mio Toko is likely the level 2 vanilla to go for, and then you can replace one of these guys. Just beware that then you'll have less targets for Allure of Darkness, but then you will be able to bring out Frozen Fitzgerald, which might be very good. Alright guys, that was the deck profile for the level 2 vanilla deck. mfthemattdetonados, I hope you enjoyed this, and that you will continue watching my videos in the future. I'll be seeing you guys later. Goodbye.